Hello snacks, welcome back. My name is Jack. We're looking at just a single story today, but with a lot of interesting updates. You may have already heard of it, it's been around for a while, but it recently got updated in mid-December. Am I the a-hole for not helping my half-sister? Some background, my dad divorced our mother when I was 5, and half-sister was still 4, but going on 5. Said sister was the product of my mother's affair, and born exactly 9 months after me. My dad stayed with my mother up until I, at 5, told him about the man my mother kept bringing over when he wasn't home. That would be my half-sister's father. My dad gave my mother the house in exchange for removing his name from half-sister's birth certificate. He paid her child support for me up until I was 8, and my mother abandoned me during her week because her affair partner didn't want to take a child that wasn't his to visit his family for the holidays anymore, and half-sister pretty much hated me because her grandpa supposedly liked me better. My dad tried to be civil and make sure I had a relationship with my half-sister after that, but I didn't want anything to do with her either. So I never spent time with her after that. Half-sister herself would say she didn't have a sister, so I never claimed her. So the day I made my account, half-sister called me. I don't know how she got my number, but she was sobbing about our mom kicking her out of the house and not wanting anything to do with her now that she's married to a random name. I don't know who he is. I just hung up on her, to be honest, and she started texting me that she really needs her sister's help. She says that she has nowhere else to go. Her father cut contact a while ago and no one was willing to come up to get her. She lives 6 hours away from where I live, which I guess is easy to figure. I live next door to my dad. I'm a bit torn because when she called again, I told her we're not actually sisters and I'm not coming to get her, nor am I giving her a place to stay until she's back on her feet. Then I hung up again. I blocked her number, but she's been calling me from other numbers and now I have people from my mother's family telling me I'm an awful sister and I should be more understanding because I was once the child that got kicked out. I just need some insight because I want to know if I'm in the wrong or if I should have gone about it differently. Unsurprisingly, it deserves the classic clapback of, tell those people that they should take her in if it matters that much to them. Besides, there are homeless shelters. She could work and pay her own bills. She could join the military and love barrack life. See, there are many options. Oh, okay, I'm sure it's easier said than done to just join the military and love the barracks. So, with the understanding this is not at all OP's issue to deal with, what does family do? They dropped her off at my house. A rant. 4 days ago, I made my account and contemplated asking if I was an a-hole for something. My half-sister called me crying, saying our mother kicked her out and she really needs her sister. I hung up the first time when she kept calling and texting. I told her we're not actually sisters and I wasn't driving 6 hours, blah, 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 blah. It's basically just a recap of the entire first post. Noting, my maternal grandmother, the only person I stayed in contact with, pretty much begged me to be a good sister and let half-sister stay with me. She told HS I have my own house, gave her my number, etc. Well, I blocked my grandmother and everyone's saying that I should be understanding because we've both been abandoned by our mother. It isn't the same. I told my grandmother this, but no one seems willing to acknowledge that. Some more backstory about her relationship with half-sister, as mentioned in the previous post. Last I heard, my mother, bio-mother, had been in childcare and lost her job because no one wants to hire you to watch their kids when you abandon yours in the middle of the night. Now, I haven't seen my half-sister in 17 years. I didn't know what she looked like until I came home today. She was sitting on my porch with a suitcase and a car. I think my grandmother's, pulled off as soon as I parked. I didn't get out of the car. I was too angry to even move, and I'm still angry right now. She kept saying she needs me and started crying, telling me that our mom was awful. Her dad cut contact, and bio-mother's new partner doesn't want her in his house. I live next door to my dad. So when my half-sister started knocking on my car window after I just stared at her, I called him and told him what was going on and asked what I should do. Dad told me to stay in my car and call the cops. Say I had a trespasser, which I did. Didn't get out until the cops came, and when they did, half-sister told them I agreed to let her stay, and now I'm leaving her homeless. I just showed them the texts. Specifically, the only texts I gave in response to everyone demanding I let her stay. No to you have the space. No to she's your sister. No to can she please stay with you. Nothing but refusals before I blocked people. When half-sister kept saying, we're sisters, I told the cops I haven't seen this woman in 17 years. I don't know her. I didn't even know what she looked like. We're not family beyond sharing an egg donor. I went as far as unblocking my grandmother and calling her. I didn't even get to speak. She said/yelled,
Look, OP, I love you, but you need to get over this. She's fat family, and she needs you, and I've told your father you'd go to hell if she raised you to be so damn selfish, and you definitely will, because she's going through the same thing you went through.
She hung up right after, and I told the cops they can book half-sister or drop her at a shelter. I don't care. I just want her off my property. They took her, and now I'm sitting here on my dad's couch, wondering what the hell just happened. He doesn't want me staying alone right now in case they show back up. I'm so mad right now. I don't get it. 17 damn years of no contact. I only speak to my grandmother on holidays. I don't know most of the aunts and uncles and cousins that blew up my phone because my bio mother pushed me out. I have to do what they tell me to do. I'm 25 years old. I've only had my dad and my paternal family for years. Bio mother and her family haven't done anything for me. None of them even know when my damn birthday is because even my grandmother texts me on the wrong day. Not even a phone call. Half-sister needs help so badly, one of you should help her. I don't know her. I don't know any of you either. I'm not letting an entire stranger into my house. And 6 hours is too far to visit when I had surgery. Oh, but not too far to try and force me to do something? One great comment. It's crazy how the maternal grandmother says the dad and OP would go to hell for being selfish, but not a word on her own daughter and bio mother. I don't get why a fair partner doesn't even look after his own daughter / half-sister. But yeah, it's a clear case of this grandmother being the kind of person who genuinely seems to think that they can be generous with other people's homes, money, and time. Oh, and how wonderful would it have been if OP said this as a response. You are right. Your daughter failed her, Grandma. It is up to you to make this right. So, at the time, OP was now staying at her dad's next door. And as we find out in this update, oh my god, was that for the best. A little dictionary of definitions for us to go through as well. I checked the camera footage last night / this morning. My half-sister and bio mother's mother had been looking under mats, rocks, in potted plants, the mailbox, and checking the doors of my house. They probably were looking for a spare. I don't keep one on my property, and my dad, grandma, and grandpa have keys they keep with theirs. My uncle did an overhaul of mine and my dad's cameras. We now have ones that send notifications to our phones when motion is detected. Also got Ring doorbells for the front and back doors. There are other features, and all the cameras are better hidden as well. I went to the police department while he was doing this and brought my grandpa with me. So my half-sister was booked for trespassing, but not held very long since my bio-mother's mother picked her up from the station. They stuck to the lie of me offering half-sister a place to stay and gave statements. Not sure how that's going to go, but I'm taking steps to protect myself, my property, and my dad and his property. HS doesn't have a record beyond this, so this was her first offense. Don't know how I feel about that, to be honest. It sounds awful, but I had hoped she would have at least one prior because commenters make it seem like that would make the outcome of a permanent restraining order and trespassing order favorable. Bad Mom's mother does have a record though. Harassment, trespassing, and domestic violence. I shared this with the police as well. No longer surprised where this behavior comes from then. Either way, I was able to get a temporary restraining order today. So there's that. I gave the camera footage to the police alongside copies of the texts printed out and on USB, gave a statement, and they called a judge to get the TRO issued. I talked with them about other things like self-defense recommendations, overhauling my security system, getting a gun for protection, and so on. I was really anxious and just kept talking because it finally hit me that these people know where I live, and they're willing to make these 6 hours to harass me and get inside my home. The texts and voice messages haven't stopped. I unblocked and muted. There are direct and indirect threats. Bad Mom's mother is adamant that since I have an entire house to myself, a stable job, and no children, I will be housing half-sister or she'd give me the butt-whooping my dad should've. My half-sister has only left one voice message about coming over later today and that she's staying with me because that's what blood does. They help. When there was no response, she sent multiple texts telling me I need to be more understanding, that she's in a tough spot, and that she's moving in for at least a week until she's able to support herself. Note, it's 7 days to gain legal tenancy here. Some quick clarification for people asking about the age gap. I'm a February 1st baby. Half-sister is a November 29th baby. I say exactly 9 months difference because I'm not counting the weeks and days. I just felt that people knowing we're the same age was relevant and gave context to why I have no relationship with her. I don't know if she was premature. I never asked, to be honest, and there are people saying they have similar gaps around them, so I have nothing to add. Also, multiple people asked if I hate half-sister and that I sound resentful for things she said as a child and for things her parents did. In my first post, I talked to someone in the comments and admitted that had this been a few years earlier, I may have helped half-sister without much thought. I know, as children, she was just parroting her parents. I don't fault her for that, nor do I blame her for Biomother abandoning me. But it's been 17 years. We've been legal adults for 7 of those years. She could have reached out at any point, but didn't, and said she had no sister. I also could have reached out at any point, but also didn't. I just moved on with my life. I was in therapy since I was abandoned, and it took me years to move on from no one that side actually wanting me. Hope he continues on just to clarify all this and claiming that it's not really at all about having some pent-up frustration against her as a child, just they're not really family at all. And at this point now, it's about them just trying to ruin her life and harass her until she, would just be a doormat and give in. OP doesn't owe these people anything, and yet they're acting like she should be doing this all along. They've now spoken to an attorney and have actually recommended unblocking and muting all the people just so she's got evidence to stack up against them. Being told that getting the camera footage of all the stuff that happened of the Biomother's mother and half-sister getting spare keys and extra protection is a really good move as well. To which, yeah, a lot of the comments are beginning to think this is becoming extremely entitled and unhinged. Even possible it could become more violent. I mean, why are these people so desperate to get half-sister to stay with OP? She is an individual adult after all. She's also 25. Surely she's capable of getting some sort of roof over her head some other way. Well, that's when we get some more information from a cousin, closer to the half-sister's part of the family. So I was going through the first messages sent to me and found one of the many I muted without reading. This is from a cousin of half-sister. Note, the order of info was edited to be better understood. A lot was blocks of text, so I try to put it in order. So turns out, the affair partner cut contact with half-sister, who is affair partner's biological daughter, when she was 20, because she covered Biomother's affair with a random guy. As a result, affair partner stopped paying her tuition and cut her off financially. Half-sister's work history is non-existent, and she was kicked out by Biomother a month ago because she was sleeping with that same rando and one of his sons. Said son turned 18 2 months ago. Half-sister came home to hers and rando's things on the curb, and all the locks changed. The police weren't involved. The cousin doesn't know if Biomother told the boy's mother, but she did tell the entire family. Essentially said, protect your kids in marriage. Half-sister claims she only slept with him on his birthday. Biomother claims he was a minor when half-sister slept with him. The family is adamant about getting her somewhere safe to stay long-term because she is pregnant. No one likes her, but believe abandoning her is wrong due to her pregnancy. The cousin expresses doubt about that pregnancy though. Half-sister showed Granmother a positive pregnancy test, but no one else has been given any proof. Doesn't help that half-sister has a history of lying. Half-sister's also couch-surfed with those that don't have kids. So far, she's, borrowed someone's car without permission, taken expensive items to pawn, taken money meant for interview clothes and travel, and then blew it on expensive mom and baby outfits. When cops are involved, she lies and has gotten someone arrested by claiming SA when they try to have her removed from their property. So the plot to get half-sister into my house was the idea of an uncle, one of Grandmother's 3 sons. Grandmother apparently brags and complains about me being young with no kids, a well-paid job, and a house I own. Essentially, this uncle said I had no responsibilities, disposable income, and plenty of room. Because no one wants to outright abandon half-sister, this was the best plan. To quote the cousin, don't give an inch, not even a ride to a shelter. Someone tried and she caused a scene and nearly got them arrested because she kept lying about the situation. Please read this. I read your 2 posts. Stay safe. So hell yeah, shout out to the cousin, just dropping the truth. They should be a journalist. Bring some credibility back to that profession, you know? So now Opie comes back a few days later, and this time on the offensive. No major updates today. Texts and calls have all stopped. My entire neighborhood is on alert, and the family rotation continues. Today will be spent with my aunt, the one with the keychain and fisticuff bracelet, and grandma. So just to clarify, because there's a lot of random comments here and there, but Opie's currently rotating with different members of her dad's side of the family and keeping her company while she's staying at her house. house. Now, no one showed up at my house in the middle of the night, but I'm following the advice of multiple people. The first being about making an FU binder. Now, my aunt suggested making transcripts of all the saved voice messages, which I think is a pretty good addition to this to go along with the USB drive of them. That'll be part of what I do today. The second bit of advice I have saved is about documenting every day, even if nothing happens, in a spiral notebook. I started on this immediately. The FU binder, popularized by this user Forward Plenty 4 years ago on this subreddit, which is basically an informative response to what happens when someone threatens you with reporting to authorities, or in fact, just any time that you are dealing with going no contact with a just no person. It's a very helpful tip is to create what is called an FU binder. In case it isn't clear, it's basically just something to have consistent evidence of any sort of interactions and issues you've been dealing with them, as well as evidence of such interactions and issues. Something you can easily hand over to any sort of authority the moment they need proof of all the allegations that are being made against you or that you are making against the other person. I will also be recording when I go to and from work or anywhere, to be honest. Also, multiple people on the door screws. That was among the first things done when I brought the house, and my windows were all changed on purchase as well. They're impact windows, so it'll take a lot of effort to break them. My uncle has always been big on home safety, so he did all of that with me. Even though I'm next door to my dad and fairly close to the rest of the family, he always says I'm still a woman alone in a house. You can never be too safe. Holiday vacations has officially been cancelled and refunded. Always invest in travel insurance. Now, a lot of stories shared with me have me on edge about leaving my home unattended. My neighbors offered to watch my house, but I'd feel more comfortable being present if something happens. So this year, I'm going to be hosting Thanksgiving and potentially Christmas. My grandma suggested this and she's been getting really into it, so today might also be shopping for decorations. Now, of course, as festive as it sounds to have a party at Opie's house, it definitely does leave one to be scared that, as people say, could the half-sister and bad mom's mother try and use this as an opportunity to gain entrance? To which the Opie responds that, if anything, this is actually the best opportunity for it to possibly happen because that's when she'll have her whole family present. So shortly after, there's a quick update on Happy Turkey Day. Seems to have gone well. No surprise visitors, calls or texts, no real updates on anything, but keeping vigilant regardless. Which is when we come to the latest update with some more information from the concerned cousin. What is the situation with the half-sister and her stepbrother? You know, the guy she slept with. So first off, half-sister was arrested after stealing her grandmother's car and credit cards. When she was booked, she apparently made it known she was pregnant, but then refused to do a pregnancy test. State laws mean they couldn't force her to. Our cousin says that her period came on while in jail, and she claimed it was a miscarriage. It wasn't. She eventually admitted that her grandmother told her to claim pregnant because that was the only way anyone would want to help her. It worked for a time, but her antics made everyone stop beyond trying to push her onto me. She's claiming she had a mental breakdown and that's why she stole the car and so on. Next, the stepbrother. Concerned cousin did involve Child Protective Services, mainly for the younger of the two stepbrothers since the eldest is 18 already. Both of us were worried half-sister had been involved with him in some capacity too. Their mother was also worried when she got the full extent of what was going on. She had filed her own report and told the concerned cousin about it when they reached out after the older stepbrother had a tirade online, essentially saying he was legal and slept with his half-sister because he wanted to. Yes, because nothing proves one's maturity than a 17-year-old boasting how proud they were to sleep with someone, 8 years older than them. She probably told him how mature he was for his age, and he was more of a man than her father was. It hadn't been a one-time thing either. He and her slept together multiple times, but he's adamant that it was only when he was legal and never before. The younger of the two revealed that half-sister offered to sleep with him too, but emphasized the when you're legal part to him every time she brought it up. She was grooming them. At least that's what I feel like she was doing. He described conversations that made him uncomfortable, like asking about girls he liked, constantly complimenting his looks, bringing up his age and maturity, so on. Unlike his brother, he never got comfortable with her, but also never said anything because this isn't the first time he's dealt with creepy older women. Both stepbrothers are in therapy, solo and family, and their father has lost custody entirely. Hopefully both get the aid they need. I feel disgusted by what I learned. especially because the younger opened up about actually having told his mother about his discomforts. He just wasn't taken seriously by her. My maternal grandmother was also arrested this morning alongside her son. The one that gave her the idea of me taking in my half-sister. The uncle came by my house trying to plead a case for me to pay half-sister's bail because they can't afford it. The police were called and both were arrested. Maternal grandmother was in direct violation of the restraining order, so I hopefully won't be seeing or hearing from her again after this. Oh my God, what a ride, eh? Grandmother's like,
Hey, I know we tried to force you to take in your half-sister and made you live in fear for a while, but pay her bail money after she stole my car because I can't afford it.
so yes, not only was the half-sister not pregnant the entire time, but she was also confirmed to be grooming younger kids. Young, heavily influential teenage boys. God, imagine being that young guy, having to deal with creepy older women. I mean, if that guy doesn't grow up to be extremely empathetic of women's experiences, I don't know, like, where did he go wrong? He's going to be that 0.01% of men who can actually say, well, actually, ladies, I know exactly what your experience is like. Either way, it's good to know that they're all in therapy and getting some help about that sort of experience from this scummy half-sister taking advantage of these people. But with all that said, and some people thinking this is the ending the porn videos cut out, what are your thoughts? Let me know down below. And in the meantime, I love you, face. I'll let you go. You be a free bird. Fly away now. It's okay. Get out of here. Go. Get out of here already. Leave. I'll see you next time. Bye.